Let's have it right. Up the Chelsea, up the Minerals FC. Big up to every single one of you live and locked in. Hope everyone is doing well, winning live. First and foremost, I want you all to smash the like button. If you haven't smashed it already, hit the subscribe button as well. We've got the notification bell so you know when we go live. And we've got the Minerals FC Ultras membership, which is in the chat and down below in the description. Salute to all my Minerals FC Ultras, to our Chelsea old boys. We see things they'll never see. And to the no surrender mentality. And massive respect, big up to Eunice. And Ultras, I want to introduce you the Strasbourg Federation for Supporters representation, Alex, to the Minerals FC. Welcome, our brother. I say bonjour, Alex. Je m'appelle Johnny Minerals. Let's have it right.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to speak to you. And yeah, bonjour.
Let's have it right. We've lost Eunice. It's Eunice talks lost. He doesn't know where he's gone. But big up to him. Listen, everyone in the chat, you have to understand something here. This doesn't normally happen, and both our clubs are suffering from the same ownership, an ownership that are not for football. They're not for the culture of the supporters. They're not for the beautiful game. They're only in it for profit and what they can get out of the clubs on a financial level. So it's a massive honour to have you on, Alex. And I want you to just let everyone know about the federation, its ties with everyone in the fan base, and just give us a lowdown and introduction to yourself.
Well, yeah, thank you. Federation of Supporters is a supporter organization. We are like about 400 members. We've been existing for 15 years. We will be turning 15 this year. We have a place close to the stadium where people will meet before the game to have a beer and a snack and a sandwich. And so you always have like 100 or 150 people coming before the games. We are doing a thing that is similar to what exists in Germany, for example, with the fan project. We have been active supporting the club, including when it was really in the depths, in the fifth year of French football. And we act in close coordination with all different supporter organizations. Our main focus is outside of the stadium, club culture, doing some animation outside of the stadium regarding club history, club culture, and so on. And we act in close coordination with the supporter groups who are more demonstrative in the stand, like the Ultra Boys and other groups. There's another group which is called KCB, which is also very active in the stand. And there's also a group of Strasbourg supporters in Paris. And we have been all acting together. All together, we are like 2,000 people, all members of association, will really pay to be a member of the association. And we believe that Strasbourg is an independent club, a club that has to be proud of its history, and a club that exists by himself. So that's pretty much it.
Class. I want to salute Stevie G as well, who's made this happen. It's very, very important that everyone knows that, and has met Ultra Boys 90, and this is a very for me. This is like this is what is necessary. We all need to speak about what is happening in our game, in our leagues, with our football club. It's let's have it right. It's a disgrace, isn't it? Yeah, it's. We want your take on all the issues at your football club since this ownership's bought your club.
Yeah. Well, for us, it was really a nightmare when BlueCo took over back in June 2023. So that was like a bit more than 1 year after you guys, because it was really the opposite of what we had been working for the last 12 or 13 years. when the club filed for bankruptcy in 2011, there was a whole project to build it back from the roots, from the grassroots, very big grassroots movement. So we invested a lot of energy with club management to make a lot about the culture and the local ties, because Strasbourg is a very regional club. It's the club of Alsace, which is a very specific region of France, and it's heavily linked to the culture of Alsace. So for 12, 13 years, we had been acting closely with club management to really make this a big, strong club with local ties, existing by its own, and with great success, actually, because we went back from the fifth year of French football to Ligue 1 in like 7 years. We broke every attendance record in the lower leagues. We've won the League Cup in 2019, and we went back to Europe. Whereas 9 years before, we were playing against a club from our suburbs. So when they decided to sell to BlueCo, it was like 180 degree, like a U-turn, like saying they had been like fighting for this strong independent club, and all of a sudden we become a feeder club for Chelsea, because that's what has been going on for the last 2 years. At first, the message was, well, we have the same owners, but we are going to act separately, and this is going to be two different kind of sporting policy. And in the end, it's all the same. It's all about bringing some very, very, very young players to Strasbourg, because maybe at one point they will be able to go to Chelsea. So we are Strasbourg. The average age is 22. We are by very, very far the lowest age average in Europe. Our starting 11, the only player above 23 is the goalkeeper, Petrovic. And the idea is, okay, we put some money, but only to buy very young players, but maybe we can either sell back or put forward for Chelsea. So we are really being used as your B team, or as Mr. Ekbali was put it, as a farm team, just like in the US league system, where you have farm teams for major league teams. And obviously we are against that, and we are against this whole concept of multi-club ownership, because it's against the universality of football. The whole idea of football is that every clubs, they are loosely connected, that you can climb the ladder, or you can get relegated, and at some point Brest can play Real Madrid, at some point a club from League One can go to the cup final in Wembley or whatever. So that's the whole beauty, in my opinion, of European football. And what they are trying to do is to put forth their American model of major league, minor leagues, and obviously we would be in the minor league, because there's much less money in French football than in the Premier League.
You said the word that Ekbali uses, farming. That just rattles me, because that's what we hear all the time, don't we, Eunice?
Yeah, we do. Firstly, apologies for the whole connection and whatnot. There might be issues here on my end, but yeah, the first instance that I started hearing from the Strasbourg end was again slightly different to how we've perceived it at Chelsea, but the whole concept of being a feeder club, being part of a multi-club model, was what initially got the Strasbourg fans angry, should we say. Has that been a united front from the very beginning, from the moment that they walked through the doors? It's something that's developed with a little bit of time?
It's a bit in between. I must say, at first, as I mentioned, we were all shell-shocked, because if you would have told me like 2 months before that this would happen, I would have told you like, no fucking way, this is not gonna happen, not here, not in Strasbourg. So like for 3 or 4 months, everybody was like shell-shocked. Okay, what is going on? Is this real? And then the message was, okay, this has happened, and we want to make extremely clear that we are against multi-club ownership, and we will watch what's going on. And the clever move that Clear Lake and BlueCo made is that they kept the president, Marc Keller. He used to be a player at West Ham, for example, and he had been in charge for like 12 or 13 years, and he was the main protagonist for Strasbourg's rise in the last 12 or 13 years, and he has like a very huge support from the local elites, so that's politician, businessmen, and so on. He's very well introduced locally, and people really in a sense they venerated him. They venerate him, so they kept him. And at first, a lot of people said, "Oh, come on, he's still there, so nothing is changing." And what has been going on for the last 2 years is that he has lost all his power. He's just like acting, he's doing some public relations, he's sitting in the main stand, doing nothing apart from being there. But for the people who follow the club a little bit more loosely, that's still something. And otherwise, it's obviously Egbali, Winstanley, Stewart, and Sam Jewell making all the decisions.
Right.
There's a point at this summer, Marc Keller wasn't even aware that some people were coming at the club, some players were signed.
No way.
And that's because it's actually here in Strasbourg. It's Winstanley and Stewart running the show, just like at Stamford Bridge, I'm guessing. And so our message has changed in the second season from we are against multi-club ownership to we are against multi-club ownership, and we are also fighting the old BlueCo ownership, because it's the loose premise that was made at first, saying that this would be two separate entities, is obviously completely was completely false. It's not the case. There's one flagship, and that's Chelsea, and that's advertised on Clear Lake's website, saying, "Okay, we own a part of Chelsea." And then there's a small entity that is being used as a feeder club, and which is not advertised because it is for them it's not significant. And Egbali is actually making a lot of decisions in the backside, but he hasn't come to Strasbourg. He hasn't spoke to the club employees. He hasn't spoken to the local elites. He hasn't spoken to the supporters. We have been asking for a meeting with him since the first day, and the answer that we are getting is that he's not interested in speaking with you guys. This guy is a billionaire. Don't bother, and so on. But still, we ask because we think that he should, at the minimal politeness of introducing himself, presenting himself, you just don't buy something and steer it or manage it from London or New York or Pervisio. That it doesn't work this way. I mean, a football club, it's a living entity. We're talking about people. We're talking about passion. We're talking about thousands of people meeting every 2 weeks, spending a lot of money, including people who do not. Sometimes are kind of for them it's a big sacrifice going to the game, spending money and so on, because they are lower class and so on. So it's about passion, it's about culture, and certainly not about making an Excel file in an office or in a private jet somewhere over the ocean. That's our point of view.
I want to ask as well, sorry, has Winstanley and Stewart introduced themselves yet as well, or is it just the president who is basically just the one that you guys have access to?
We have only had access to the president, that's on. He made some very regular meetings, and he has been meeting a lot of social media personalities as well to try to convince them. At first, it worked a little bit because some people were really like proud to be introduced to him and so on. But Winstanley Stewart, they are only acting in the backside, acting behind. But it's pretty well known that they make all the decision, and it has been actually written in the press, like in L'Equipe, which is the main sports newspaper in France. They have made a lot of articles saying, okay, the decisions are all being made by Winstanley and Stewart, and these decisions are being made in Chelsea's interest.
So the way I look at that is, right, the way I know how these owners operate. Winstanley and Stewart, they're the yes men of Chelsea Football Club model as the directors. They do as they're told. All right. They use AI scouting to buy players, so data. I want to ask. I'm going to point a question to Winstanley Stewart directly. Yeah. How is it you got all this time to go to Strasbourg and dictate Strasbourg signings and players that they recruit, but you can't even do your job at Chelsea? Because they're doing a shit job at Chelsea in terms of what we are recruiting. We need a whole new spine, and we spent 1.5 billion. Like, what are we doing here? So the reality is, Egbali is the one controlling Winstanley and Stewart. So Egbali's giving the sign-offs on all the players that are coming in and going at your club and our club. That's it. That's it in a nutshell, isn't it, Eunice? That's it.
Yeah. And just to make it clear as well, because we have to make this honest and fair and transparent. Todd Bowley has nothing to do with Strasbourg whatsoever.
No, he's not involved. It's all about Clear Lake, and I think, Johnny, you're right as well, because what we have been hearing, and to me it's a big surprise, because this guy is supposed to be leading a private equity that's like 40 billions or something. And what we heard, for example, this summer, he was involved in the decision on whether we should loan to a second division side or a third goalkeeper. So there's something I'm not getting. I mean, I'm starting to think that it's his own video game or something, because it just doesn't make sense. The guy is making all the decisions, that's pretty clear, including some decisions that are really like small decisions, whether you loan or not your third goalkeeper. It's not strategy. It should be like day-to-day sporting policy. But on the other side, he won't introduce himself. He won't talk publicly, and so on. So there's something I'm not getting here. And I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Egbali's a delicate flower. When a young boy, he must have been about 12 years old. I don't even know how old he is. All right, went up to him and said, "What are you doing to our club?" And he was palming him off, and then he legged it. He ran into his motor. He got scared.
Yeah.
He's delicate flower. Maybe he's not very good with social. He's just not socially very qualified, or I think he is personally. But he's very good in front of the camera. He's very good telling you about the multi-club, the beachhead, the streamline, low wage structure, long contracts, maximise profits. He's fantastic in that sense. But when it comes to addressing the supporters, we don't get nothing. We don't get anything. All we get is a conference meeting, a big Bloomberg, Forbes, and predominantly it's Bowley. I want to ask this. Is Vivid Seats got any association to Strasbourg? Are you aware of any tickets being priced quite high in Strasbourg? Like any tickets that are going for high prices? I thought I'd ask that.
For Vivid Seats, like you mean, like
yeah.
This has not been going on. They have a resale platform at Strasbourg, which is running quite well, but it's being owned by the club, and we are not popular enough so that they would be able to have the prices very high. Like, there's no like Chinese or Japanese tourist that is ready to pay, like, I don't know, 500 euros for a ticket at Strasbourg. But it's also one of our fears, because we are building right now. We're not building. We are like revamping the stadium and extending the stadium, which is all, by the way, being paid by the town of Strasbourg, so by this taxpayers' money to make profit for BlueCo. And we are afraid that once, that's the way things going on. Profit is obviously for private, but loss is for public. So I think the whole renovation must be like 150 million euros. Clear Lake must put like 10 or 15, and the rest is being paid by the town or the regional government. So it's taxpayers' money. So they own the stadium, by the way. So the club will pay a rent. But in the end, it's about bringing a new tool to the owners to make more money, and we are obviously afraid that they will put the ticket prices up. Right now, it is still quite a bargain to get a season ticket here in Strasbourg, and that has been very important to maintain this very popular routing for the club. So as I said, it's still today possible, but maybe it won't be in the future for a family, like middle class family, to own 4 or 5 season tickets. They can come to a game, have a beer, and they are not broke at the end. Sure, it's a big investment, it's a big spending, but it's still possible for the average guy. What we are afraid is that they will do just like some English clubs did, is that they will put a selection on money. So if a club becomes more popular, they will heighten the ticket prices, and then that will obviously lead to a more I don't know how to put it, not to be like too arrogant, but more like touristic attendance, as opposed to the more traditional popular working class people.
Alex, is this true? Bali refused to bring in an attacker last winter to help Strasbourg in fear of limiting minutes for Angelo Gabriel, who ended up getting hurt, and then they sold your captain Sells. Is that right?
Yeah, they did that back in January 2024. They sold the team captain Matt Sells, the goalkeeper, to Nottingham Forest.
I remember that.
They did that on the 31st of January, like on the rush, because Sells was like, I don't know, 33 or 44, and they were saying, "Come on, we got a good offer. You gotta get off." And yeah, we have about I think 6 or 7 players here at Strasbourg that are really like Chelsea players. That includes, like, we had like 3 players on loan from Chelsea, which is the limit that you can have. So we have right now we have Santos, the midfielder, we have Petrovic, the goalkeeper, and we had like Wiley. He's an American left back. You guys have not seen him because he was injured most of the time. So we had like these 3 players, and then we got a player that Clearlake or BlueCo decided that Chelsea would sell back to Strasbourg. So that's Oliveira, the Portuguese. So we had to buy it back. So like no choice, but it was like money going from BlueCo's left pocket to money going to BlueCo's right pocket. And then we've got something which is, in my opinion, more nasty, is that we have, for example, a Senegalese guy, Diong, is 18. I'm talking about Diong. He's 18 years old. He comes from Africa, so he wasn't eligible for a work permit here in the UK.
All right.
So BlueCo signed him. He trained at Chelsea last spring. And then they said to Strasbourg, come on, he cannot be registered in the Premier League, so he's going to play for you guys, so he can get some points on his work permit form that he's going to make in like 1 or 2 years. So this guy is pretty much being put to Strasbourg as a wait room to go then to Chelsea. So we have like 6 or 7 or 8 players like that that are really where Strasbourg is being used as a waiting room or whatever you would call it for Chelsea. And obviously that's a big problem for us, because that's players that are in the end not involved at Strasbourg, because they only see it as a I don't know, a transit zone or whatever you would call that.
I mean, someone in the chat is claiming to be a Strasbourg supporter, saying, what are you complaining about? We're having a good season. We could get European football. But I don't think you understand the overall message here, is that right now you might be playing well, but when Petrovic goes or sold, Santos goes or is sold, what's Strasbourg left with? They got another player that Chelsea, Barley's going to feed them to have another season on loan or 2 seasons, and it just keeps going on and on like that.
Yeah.
not monetary. You're not building. They're not building a team with Strasbourg. They're not
exactly.
building a team for the future.
There's no stability there whatsoever.
Yeah, no stability.
Yeah, well, we've been hearing that a lot. So why do you guys complain? The football is quite good. We have some money to spend. Our position has been very clear from the beginning. We will rather be broke and independent on our own to fight for our culture, for what we think is right, rather than spend someone else's money. And they are not building a team because we are being used as a feeder club. So yeah, maybe this year we've won 3 games in a row and we are staying 7 in the league, which is good for us, but not extraordinary as well. But maybe next year it will be different because it won't work. And also the club in itself has seen a huge rise in its payroll, a huge rise in transfer fees, and he's not able to finance that on his own revenue because the ticket sales, they have been staying quite the same. The TV money here in France is down because we have a lot of issues with broadcasters. So this is not money that the club is generating by himself. This is not the club's money. This is clear like money that they are, for the moment, they are ready to spend because they think that in the end they will make a profit. But I have more and more trouble seeing how they will make a profit with all the shit that they are doing. And we are all very afraid that at some point Mr. Egbali will say, okay, no, I'm pretty sure that there's no way that I can get the 10 or 15% return on investment every year that I should be getting for my clients. Yeah. And that all of a sudden he will pull the plug out and say, oh, come on, it's over, you guys. See you. I don't give a shit. I'm out. Because that's a real risk for me. He's in private equity, so he is supposed to beat the stock market. What he's selling to his clients is, I'm going to make you more money that you would have by just putting your money on the stock market. And is investing in football, in European football, with, in my opinion, a very arrogant point of view, saying, oh, come on, we are American, we know a lot about sport, and we think that with our American methods, we can change everything and make value here. But what we have been seeing and what you guys have been seeing for like 2 and 3 years is proving, in my opinion, that this is not working. And at some point, Mr. Egbali's clients will say to Mr. Egbali, well, hold on, this is not working. Maybe we cut our losses, we sell back, or we just finish it and we go somewhere else. We buy, I don't know, a biotech or a steel company in India or whatever that is that they will buy. Because it's not working. I mean, for us it's a huge amount of money, but the proportion between Strasbourg and Chelsea is still huge. I mean, for us it's a lot of money, but we are talking about 1 to 20 or 1 to 30 in terms of the money that was put to buy the club or the money that has been put into the club. So how will they get the money back? I don't see how.
Great question.
I mean, unless, this is the thing, unless if because of the magnitude and the difference in size, which is evident between the two clubs, if they're looking to, as it's been used, as Strasbourg's is being used as a way to just get players minutes, get them moving, get them playing, increase their value. If they do end up coming back to Chelsea and then getting their profit that way, if they're sold for higher fees, maybe Strasbourg is just used in order to, even if it doesn't mean getting the profit directly from Strasbourg, which they might or might not do, but they'll get it via Chelsea instead later. Maybe.
Yeah, well, there's no way they can make a profit with Strasbourg right now because there's not enough money from TV. There's not enough money from ticket sales and merchandising. For me, to them, Strasbourg is a cost, and it will always be a cost. And it's a cost because it helps Chelsea, and they need to make their money with Chelsea. So they are thinking that they can transform Chelsea in some kind of a sports franchise, the way it exists in the NFL and the NBA. But the NFL and the NBA is like 30 teams, whereas in European football you have like hundreds of teams. and we are fighting to keep that. We are fighting for the idea that maybe one day, if Strasbourg has a good season, we go to the European Cup, and that we can meet you guys in the European Cup with different ownership, and then it's a fair game, and we'll see what comes at the end. But it's a fair game. It's not about like money and clubs having ties with each other. And if we end up, like, for example, going to, I don't know, maybe we finish up 6th or 5th in the league, and we are qualified for a conference league or something like that. And maybe if you guys don't fare that good, you go into the same European Cup. What do we do? What does the UEFA say? Who is allowed to play in Conference League or Europa League? Chelsea, Strasbourg, both?
Yeah.
Shouldn't be asking these questions.
You know what, Alex? All right, and to all of your all the Strasbourg supporters, yeah. I think Eunice, you'll agree with me, yeah. But it's starting to make sense. Strasbourg are being used as literally a cash cow to bankroll Chelsea. But I'm gonna, for example, Chelsea right now. I'm gonna share it so you're probably aware, but I'm showing you this. When in 2022 and 23, Clearlake and Bowley's consortium, we set up the Blue Holdco Limited. They took a 500 million loan or borrowed in debt from Ares Management, which has come from Miami Dolphins, NFL. And that's got a 12.96% interest rate. They also took 702 million with a 3.25% interest rate. And
from the
they've been pitching to everyone, it's for a 10-year project. We're locked in because of Roanoke for 10 years. No, they're choosing to lock themselves in for 10 years. And what I think they're doing now is they've spent 1.5 billion with Chelsea. They've proven to Abramovich, we've agreed you want us to invest 1.2 to 1.7 billion. We've done that. In January, we couldn't go in the market unless we traded a player or we sold a player in order to buy a player. And we ended up not buying anyone. And we're in desperate need of a striker. We're in desperate need of a goalkeeper, like a spine. Okay. Argument's sake, Santos, Petrovic will be sold, right? They will bankroll signings that we potentially need at Chelsea. At the same time, we might have many players at Chelsea that they've got that they're going to loan and sell on. Like Felix, they might sell Felix. They'll sell Nkunku. They'll sell Trev Chalobah's Cobham player, so he's homegrown. So he's like 40 million profit. And what you have here is, if they can't do that, they'll go, right, well, we've got a Strasbourg. It's an insurance policy. It's a blanket for them financially to be able to move funds back into Chelsea. Why? Because of the 1.2 billion debt that they've taken on. And that Ares Management loan in 10 years with that interest rate equates to 1.7 billion. And they have to be paid first out of Egbarley, Clearlake and Bowley. So I want you to, I don't know if you know or are aware of this, but it's a very important detail in terms of how you're being run is not for your football club. It's never going to be for the love of the culture and the heritage of Strasbourg and your French league. It's never going to be run for the heritage and culture of Chelsea Football Club. Because what this ownership have come in and done essentially is, yes, they're going to promise all their investors, we're going to give you a triple, double return in a certain amount of time. At the same time, they are here to implement the new model in football and bring the NFL structure and pyramid and change the fabric of football and the culture of the game, which is what I am. We're not only fighting for our club, yeah, but we're also fighting for football here. This is a European. It will end up being the whole European situation where they want to monopolize European football. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, the way this old multi-club ownership has been spiraling like crazy for like 3 and 4 years. And the way I see it, I think it's an answer to the fact that the Super League didn't work. So they are trying to
I
do
was
the
gonna
Super
say.
League in another way. And I think it's kind of even more brutal because it's like you're not saying it openly, but still you're doing it. And yeah, I wasn't aware of the number. I wasn't aware of the interest rate. I mean, that's huge. I mean, it goes to my point before. How can they make a profit with that? I mean, I'm not just getting it. And what you are saying essentially is that you think that they have run out of their
The
initial
fund.
cash,
Yeah.
and so right now they are like just looking for some stuff that's left to try to make something. And what sense there was a lot of things this fall about the whole rift between Ekbali and Bully. Have you been hearing a lot about that? Because to us, we were very interested. There were like 3 or 4 papers in like Financial Times, The Athletic, saying that there was a big disagreement with Bully and Ekbali. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, it's all PR.
Yeah, we heard about it at first, and then it all went quiet.
Yeah.
So now, God knows. Now it seems like maybe there wasn't crazy issues happening in the first place, because this is the problem. And I don't know how it is on your side, because this sort of thing will happen more when it comes to like the bigger clubs, especially in European football. This will be diverted more towards them. But when you get stories that come out, especially about Chelsea, it's never complete truth or facts. It's always, if it's a certain journalist or it's a certain newspaper or whatever, they will be putting information out that maybe the club wants them to put out, or things like that can allegedly be done. When it happens with other big clubs, it's not a surprise. But to go for someone like a Strasbourg, does that really happen? I mean, what I've noticed here as well is you have a direct link to the club in terms of some of the players, the manager you can directly speak to, the president you can directly speak to. Is that the case? So I'm guessing your information is a lot more transparent.
Yeah, well, it's the case because we used to be a very in a sense, I wouldn't say small, but intimate club. Because, for example, the training pitch was just across the stadium. What you had to do is just cross a small bridge, and then there's the training pitch, and it's on public ground. So you had like people going on their bicycle, because there's a bike lane between both pitches, and it was public. So everybody would come to the training. Like you have like 30, 40, 50 people every day to watch the players train,
Wow.
with no security, nothing like that. So that was the case until this fall, when the head coach Rosenior decided that he wouldn't have that anymore, or very, very less. So I'm guessing that there are still some training that are public, but it's getting very rare these days, whereas it used to be public. Yeah, we have a direct access to the president. I've met him, for example, at the end of October with other supporters. But in the end, we are not getting any information because he's bullshitting us. And what we are saying right now is that there seems to be right now at our club 2 separate entities inside the club, because Marc Keller is still pretending to be there. He's still pretending to do something. He's still talking to the press, and the press has been very respectful to him. And he really, like, the local press is just, they are fond of him. They will never say anything against him. And the last contacts were through people that are more discreet. Like we have a guy. His name is Demishlak. He's Belgian, and he's running the club on a day-to-day basis. So he's like the unofficial president. And there were some contacts through him. So right now there seems to be like 2 separate entities trying to be running the club, but we don't get much information actually, because the real person making the decision is Ekbali, and Ekbali will obviously not talk to us. We have asked many times, but the answer is still the same. Come on, you guys, you're not worth it. He's not gonna talk to you peasants. That's pretty much the way I see it. It's like he's seeing that on a very American way, whatever that is. I think he doesn't even get the whole idea of having supporter organization, of having culture, because what he see, his model is like the American fan, the guy who just comes, buy his tickets, buy his burger, soda, whatever that is, buy a t-shirt, and then gets home. And it also pays a huge parking fee. I think that's what they want, because that's best for business.
You know, I call him Siri Merchant. You know, Siri, you speak, it talks like a robot. He's like an AI robot, Iqbali. You know, he's soulless. Doesn't care about the game. They call us customers. Did you know that? They call us customers.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Chelsea supporters, well, no, that's all right. Yeah. I want to ask a little bit off topic, but not really. But I don't want to delve too much into it. But Andre Santos, apparently he got broken into. Is this true?
His house, you mean? There was like,
yeah.
It happened during the game. It happens from time to time. You know, it's pretty sure that the guy is obviously at the stadium, so you got people. Yeah, so yeah, he had this problem, and that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm sorry for him. Still,
yeah, of course. So, do you want to give an insight about, or Eunice, do you want to ask anything first? Like, have you got anything that you?
No, obviously, to know about the protests and things that happen more on that side. I want to ask really quick, because you mentioned that Marc Keller has been at the club for a very long time.
Yeah,
and there was a genuine, really good connection.
Yeah,
and now that seems to have changed. Has he changed? Like from the moment the structure at your club changed and these owners came in, how has he changed?
Well, it's a good question. On surface, he hasn't changed. He's doing what he has always done. Is like he's pretty good at if he meets you, Eunice, he will talk to you. He will look at you in the eye and he will say very convincing things that are actually not very consistent. And actually, he says the same thing to everyone. Exactly the same, just like he's saying only to that person. And he has been doing that for 12 or 13 years, and he's very good at that because he is someone very clever, very smart, very good at getting a connection with people, especially local elites, journalists. He is brilliant at that. And he's in every porous circle there is in French football. He's present. He's at the federation. Is part of an informal club which is called France 98, which is all the French world champion for 1998, despite the fact that he wasn't on the team. He's at the league. He was a consultant for Canal Plus, which is the big TV station in. So he's fucking everywhere, but you never hear him. So on surface, that's still existent. Otherwise, he used to be like this very powerful guy, very involved in everything that was going on at the club. It's pretty well known, for example, that he is always very interested in how the sausages are cooked at the stadium. So that was him before, like being involved in 100% of the club. He would come at like 6, he would leave at 9 p.m. It was awful working for them, for people at the club, because they would work like 100 or 120 hours a week. And what we are hearing right now is that all of that has gone. He comes, he pretends to be there, but he does nothing, and he's pretty depressed about that. That's what we are hearing. So that has changed, but he's maintaining this public image, and I don't have any precise information on that. That's only speculation, but we are guessing that there's a fee that is related to the sale of the club, saying that he must stay, for example, 2 or 3 years, and then he gets some extra money because he was staying there for public relations, and that's mainly what he has been doing. And to me, it's a shame, because we had like, I mean, for us, he was like very big. I mean, he did everything right for like 12 or 13 years, and we are still trying to figure out how he betrayed us that way. I mean, I think it's pretty cynical what he's so, because he's very smart. He saw before almost everybody that French football was going to crash about the TV money. And he said, okay, I own this club. Its value is already getting slightly down. I need to find a pigeon wherever we will buy it from me, so I can get my money, and then that's not my problem anymore. And he was looking for someone, and he found Clear Lake, and they were stupid enough to buy the club. And right now they are facing also the whole mess that French football is right now, because there is no money, no money.
Wow. All right.
So he's a yes man then. He's turned into a yes man, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. We've got them
This is the
everywhere.
issue we have. This is the issue we
The
have.
whole model is built by design with yes man. It's a
Puppets.
dictatorship from these
Puppets
equity
everywhere, man.
merchants. That's it.
Yep. Yeah.
They're all private equity. They're all the stock market. You know what I mean? They're better off setting something up in Wall Street. You know, why they got to go into football? You know, this is the love and passion that we have as supporters for the game, and they're trying to eliminate that. You know, I want to talk about, of course, the ultras, the protests. I want to talk about, because they're very organised, clear message. Our supporters are divided, and I know you've told us backstage that your supporters are a little bit divided. However, you have a representation there at Strasbourg, which lead the way almost in terms of to show with force what the supporters feel and how what they want ultimately. The protest on our end, what's it about? Change the model? Is it they can't leave for 10 years? It's all delusion. So your message is clear: BlueCo out. You want them out. You want them gone, right?
Yeah, we want them out. It's obviously there's some debate on our side as well. You will always get like all shades of opinion about that. But what has been very precious for us here in Strasbourg is that all these support organizations that are significant, and I'm speaking about people paying a fee to be a member of an association, coming to the games 2 hours before to prepare either a tifo or animation or whatever. All these people all the different organizations are united on the fact that we want BlueCo out, and that we are especially against this whole concept of multi-club ownership, because that's contrary to the whole idea of football, just like we said before. So the main protest this season has been that for the first 15 minutes of every game, there will be no chants, no singing from the ultras and all the people around. This has led to some tension. Fortunately, no big problems, but still there's a bit of tension, because the general public is still staying mostly skeptical about that, and sometimes a bit hostile, because you got always this this big thing about short term versus long term. Well, on the short term, yeah, we've won 3 games. What do you want? You guys are doing something against the team. Well, yeah, maybe it's slightly against the team, but it's a big issue. It's about the future of European football. So we've been staying very straight on that we will continue until the end of the season, despite all of that has been said, because we had like 2 weeks ago there was a lot of pressure that was put on us from the club management. So at the end of the game, the team captain took the mic at the end of the game, and he spoke to the whole stand saying, come on, you guys should root for us starting from the first minute. Fair enough. I understand why he's doing that. It's his right, but still we don't agree. And then the club president, Marc Keller, he posted a press release on the club's website saying, come on, you guys, you should stop that. And then obviously when he did that, we were getting a lot of hatred online and so on. And then the coach said about the same thing, and we met the coach. We explained to him, okay, come on, this is not directed against you. We understand that you may think that this is unfortunate, but still, it's a bigger fight that goes beyond what's going on right now on the pitch. And we explained to that very very strongly and in a very precise manner. And the next day he goes to the press and he says, "Well, I don't get it. Why are they doing that?" So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure that is being put on us, but still, we will stay. We will stay straight. We will keep our position. Because that has helped us a lot put this issue on the agenda, because it's discussed in the press, it's discussed online with some heavy debate. It's being mentioned in every broadcast saying, come on, they will start only the chance at the 15 minutes. So you hear that on telly as well. And obviously the TV commentator, he has to explain at least for a few minutes why this is going on. So we are trying to put this issue on the agenda. We have been also trying to explain why we're against it with some documentation. We've been posting this video that I'm pretty sure that you guys know of Ekbali speaking in an investment forum in September, where he explains everything. And it's his words. He's pretty much saying that I want to destroy European football. He's explaining that to his American friends, his American investor friends. And still we got some people saying, nah, that's what he meant, or he changed his mind in between. Come on, he hasn't changed his mind. He has a very clear project, and his project is to destroy us as separate cultural identities, to put some kind of European NFL or European NBA, whatever you call it. That's what he want to do.
Exactly.
That's it.
And that's why we should be against him.
Facts. So when are people going to wake up? This is why I asked the question. You see, the PR that they spun there, oh, please send the players out, the captain, send Keller out. Oh, don't be silent for 15 minutes. No, you keep being silent. You keep doing it. You keep protesting. Because if you don't, they get what they want.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that's where they have been actually bad, because they put a lot of pressure and it didn't work. And now, obviously, it's getting stronger, because right now it's a matter of opinion, and we have people being very opinionated on that on either side. And to me, it's I think it's a good thing, because, as I said, it puts the issue on the agenda, and we are saying that no, we will not play ball with you guys. It's pretty clear with us. On the other side, I'm a bit sad, because it has put a lot of turmoil in the fan base, and people that used to be our close friends, now they are more skeptical, and we have some debate about that. Most of the time, it's very polite, and well, you can disagree but still discuss. But sometimes it gets quite toxic, in my opinion, and that's a shame, because we used to be all together as a fan base, supporter organization or not, all together, and very powerful. And this whole shit has destroyed all that. And there is no way that this would have happened if we had kept an independent ownership. Because we've been rooting for this club, including in the 5th division, when we were playing. There was a game back in 2012. We took the tram. It's like, for you guys in London, it's quite common. You take the tube to go to an away game. But for us, it was like, wow, we took the tram and we made I don't know. I don't even know if it's a mile long to go to a small stadium in a suburb of Strasbourg to watch our team again, a team from a suburb, and we were there. And that's the main answer that I will provide to the people saying, "Oh, come on, the results on the pitch are decent. Why are you chanting?" Well, it's obviously it's important. You're a supporter. You want to win games, but if you win games and that it doesn't make sense on a broader sense as a football club, then it's non-existent. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You will root for your team when it's bad because it's your team. And you will protest when your team is being taken over by people who are not running it for your interest. I mean, that's, for me, it's clear.
And also, winning games to do what? Win trophies or just win games? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the progress? And ultimately, those supporters that are divided, when you sell Santos, Petrovic, who's been outstanding for you lot, then what? And what if you go for a bad run? Then what?
Yeah. Well, obviously, the atmosphere will change immediately because there's always a kind of bandwagon that goes from one side to another depending on results. And as you mentioned, well, if Petrovic is doing well at Strasbourg, then at some point Chelsea will say, "Hey, we want him back." Just like, I don't know, like just like the New York Yankees, they have like this rookie, and he's playing in whatever shitty city in Iowa, and all of a sudden he's doing good for 3 games, and then the New York Yankees says, "Come on, go back to us." That's exactly. I remember I used to be an exchange student in the States, and we had like in a small city, and we had like once Derek Jeter. He was like the big baseball star. He once came, and it was like just a big event in the city for like 20 days, and then over. I mean, and we don't want that. We don't want to be just like this small dot somewhere. We're happy to stay on our own. We don't pretend to be someone else. We don't pretend to be, I don't know, a huge club, but still we are a very traditional club in France. We've been like 64 seasons in a top flight. We've won every trophy there is. We deserve some respect as a separate entity, and that's. And that's completely contrary to Mr. Iqbal's project, because he wants to take all that, put it in a garbage bin, because all he's interested in is like this. He makes that very clear, in my opinion, in this speech. He says, "I want to, just like an American franchise owns 1 out of 30 of its league. I want to own 1 out of 30 of what will be the big league at some point, either the Super League or the Champions League or the Premier League, whatever that is." That's in the end, that's his project. And in such a project, Strasbourg is obviously non-existent, because we don't have any money we don't generate any money on our own on such a scale to exist. So yeah, it's fucked up.
Big time. Big time. It sounds like there's a lot of correlation, I think, between the two clubs, at least in terms of its fabric. I think two different aims, but two things that are being run for the same agenda. I mean, how many protests as a whole has there been? I mean, when I say protests, I mean this 15-minute thing that's been going on right now. How long has that been going on for, and how many demonstrations have you had, and what's the turnout that normally occurs? I think both when you have the silence for 15 minutes, is that the whole stadium participating? Is there always some fans that maybe go against that? Or with the demonstrations, is that a regular occurrence? How many people show up for those?
Okay, well, let me start with the whole 15 minutes thing. The stadium is staying pretty much silent. Obviously, you still have some guys who try to make themselves interesting at that point, but without the kind of organization that the ultras have, you will have no really chance going on, because it's not like in some English stadium where you would have like some spontaneous movement. In French football, it's very organized. It's really the ultra. They say, okay, we're going to sing that at that moment. So that has been going on since the beginning of the season. As I said, it's heavily debated here in Strasbourg. There are a lot of people who are against it, or who are skeptical about it, but still we will maintain. As far as demonstrations are concerned, there was a demonstration, I think, back in April 2024, and there was like our account of the turnout was like 400 people. The cops were saying that there were like 300 people, and the press said there was 100, because they are really buying in the club's end. And I must say we were a bit disappointed about the turnout. Let's be honest. So there hasn't been any since, but that could come at some point as well. There's also a lot of, if you come to the Strasbourg Stadium, you will see a lot of stickers blue out. You will see some posters saying that it's all about money. We want BlueCo out, so that's what the ultras are doing. We are obviously trying to make a lot of noise online with press release explaining exactly why we are against it and why this ownership is, in our opinion, doomed to fail. But as far as demonstrations are concerned, yeah, only one actual event. The main focus for the last 6 or 7 months has been with all 15 minutes silent protest. You have to understand as well that everything that has to do with supporter groups in France is under heavy scrutinization. If you do whatever that could be considered an offense, you run the risk of being banned from the stadium with the obligation to go to the police station at every game. This is no fiction. That has happened to a lot of people that I know for some petty stuff. And they are using that as an administrative measure, which means that it doesn't go through a court. It's just basically the cops saying that you have been banned and that you have to go to the police station. And then in the end, 2 or 3 years later, it goes to the court, and the court says that this was unlawful, that this shouldn't exist. But still, it has happened for like 2 years, and for 2 years you were obliged to you can't go to the games, and you have to go to the police station. So people are very cautious about everything that is going inside and just outside of a stadium, because you know that you can be very quickly harassed. We don't have this kind of habeas corpus culture that you have in the UK, where people are very, very protective of their individual rights. There's a whole issue about supporters' individual rights here in France, on a general sense. So people, obviously, they don't want to lose connection to their mates, connection to the stadium, and hence this decision to run a very silent protest, because then you don't run the risk of going into some turmoil, and then you can get really hammered badly. So that's the main reason. Maybe at some times there will be a demonstration. I think that we will wait here again, to be frank and honest, for a time where our message is much more received by the general public. Right now it's been a bit difficult for us because the results on the pitch are decent. The press is against us. A lot of people in the local elites are against us. There are some that are with us, we know that, but they stay quite discreet for now. So, but when we see the occasion, then obviously, we'll jump on it.
The PR is very strong. They use PR for everything. So at our football club, everything's PR. They're aware of a protest coming on Tuesday.
Before Southampton.
Before Southampton game. And they're playing on a divide in the fan base because they're very online savvy. They watch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they've got a lot of people in their pockets as well as the journalists.
Mm-hmm.
And a massive online presence as well, which is they try to put under control as much as possible in that case.
And ironically, it's no coincidence, 2 days after the protests we've scheduled, the Chelsea supporters have scheduled, Bowley wants to come and speak in public.
Oh, yeah.
To the business football summit.
Okay.
But only because Chelsea supporters have set up a protest, we're getting this. Because all the journalists, not one of the mainstream journalists that we always get Chelsea news on or any narratives from, have spoken a word about Vivid Seats. But we've had it in all the papers, all the TalkSport radio, the Sky Sports, but not this specific journalists who have a lot of influence won't go near it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm guessing why. Well, because I mean, here again, like this whole Vivid Seats issues that I've been following that a bit from a distance, but the way I get it is like Vivid Seats is a scam where you will sell tickets for like 3 or 4 times their face value, and Burley is sitting on the board and he has shares, so that's an obvious conflict of interest.
Exactly.
Simple as that. There's some fans that don't understand that, unfortunately.
Well, they don't care.
Yeah.
And also, it's actually stopping Chelsea members that pay for membership at Chelsea from getting tickets by waiting in a virtual room. They can't even get the tickets and they're struggling. And season ticket holders that want to get away tickets, which is on a point system, are struggling. Then from getting pretty much every away, they're getting 1 in 4 maybe, which wasn't the case before.
Okay.
And the away end is getting infiltrated with tourist kind of supporters. It's never like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Bowley is a chairman at our football club, earning 20 million a year salary.
Just to do the kind of stuff that he's doing at Chelsea. Well,
yeah, but there's a civil war apparently.
Yeah.
Let's have it right. The civil war is the biggest fugazi. It's a fake.
It's
Why?
fake, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fake. I'll tell you why. Every consortium, every part of the consortium, everyone's got a role to play. When they all took over Chelsea, Feliciano said it's more important to build business value than win or lose on the field. That's the first one. All business. Imagine hearing that. It's more important to build business value, monetary, than win or lose on the field. That's Feliciano. Egbali comes in, NFL model, multi-club, beachhead, streamline, monetize players, monetize content, long contracts, low wages, gives higher resale value. Bowley comes in, talking about the pyramid, a new fabric in football, a multi-club, a North and South game, an All-Stars game, playing Champions League final, European competition in America to raise the ceiling of maximize profit. They all speak the same language. And Wiz, who's the Swiss merchant, who's got his founder, go and do your research on him. In fact, I'll send you some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Political. He came out outright in the press and said, I'm only interested in buying Chelsea Football Club because of my dislike for Roman Abramovich. I don't have an interest in football, and I'm not going to put my hands in my pocket to win silverware.
Yeah.
Now, all the Chelsea supporters know this. They know this.
Yeah.
And what are we doing? Singing, chanting Roman Abramovich chants. I've been chanting that last season. We're doing it again now this season. 3 years in. And it's like, they're not going to change the model like we displayed the financial debt that they've taken upon themselves to get the mechanics running and they also broke up Chelsea Football Club. So car park land, women's team, Strasbourg separate, the Cobham training ground, the 2 hotels, they're all separate companies. They have 18 companies under BlueCo. They divided and broke everything up into pieces. Why? Because the overall goal is to show that, look at the monetary model that we've implemented into the game of football, like you say, to change the fabric of football universally, right? We've also built the value and the franchise value of BlueCo, not Chelsea, not Chelsea Women's, not Strasbourg, but BlueCo. It's that value that they want the highest. That's the focus. So every team has got young players, right? Inexperienced manager.
Yeah.
Well, what do they all need? What's all in common that they need? They need time. Everyone needs time. Well, how much time do you want? So what are we going to win? We're Chelsea. We're an elite football club. We've won everything. When they bought our club, we had Champions League recently, Club World Cup, Super Cup, top 4 Champions League football. Yeah. Since they've come in, they've destroyed and gutted everything Roman's built. All the success, because they've got an agenda on Don Roman. And what have they gone and done? Brought in kids. And we haven't won one trophy. We're not even Champions League. We don't even have a front of shirt sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but I guess that's the worst part is obviously you've been faring far worse on the pitch. Football has been worse, but still on the business side, I don't think it's any better than it used to be. I mean, Chelsea was already a big household name before that. I think you guys were already very popular in Asia or whatever. And I think that the marketing was run very well before all these guys came in. And they are pretending with their very arrogant American point of view that they will put things like on a US standard, which is, in their opinion, very much better, but still on reality is that it's not any better. I mean, what you are saying reminds me of what the Glazers did at Man U.
Exactly.
They put the parking lot in a separate entity, and they do that, and they do this, and they do that, and we've all seen the way Manchester United has been destroyed in the last 10 or 15 years. It used to be like the biggest club in English football. No offense to you guys, and right now it's a fucking mess.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I want to ask as well, because we've mentioned this about, you mentioned Strasbourg has the youngest, so the youngest age, is it in Liga?
No, it's in the whole European football. It's
so
you can check the data. If you take like the top 5 or 6 European leagues, so that would be England, Spain, Italy, Germany, France, and maybe Portugal and the Netherlands.
yeah,
You take the all pro teams, or how many pro players they have, and you get the average age. Strasbourg is 22. We are talking about average.
Average. No, because the same thing's happened with us. We have the youngest average squad in the Premier League.
Yeah. So I think you guys must be like around 24 or 25.
Probably. We're
when we are
22. No, I think it's 23. I think we're close. We're close.
So we are 22, and we are by far the youngest team in major European leagues, and it's one of the first things that really came out, and it was one of Marc Keller's very first lies, because when the new ownership took over, I don't know if he was already aware that this wouldn't happen, or if he still believed it himself. He said, "Oh, come on, we're gonna bring some experienced player. Maybe we're gonna keep some players that are running out of contract, and we're gonna aim for the top 8." And then what we have been seeing ever since is that he has a very clear interdiction. It's forbidden from Mr. Iqbali to buy any player which is over 23, because that's obviously a financial liability. And so what we have is, it's true, in a sense, we have a talented team, young players with some potential, that's right, but they desperately need a skipper, a few experienced players to help them, because we have lost so many points this season. I think we are second in the league only after PSG if the game would stop at the 60th minute. And then obviously at the end of the game, in the money time, obviously we lose a lot of points and we end up being 7 or 8. But if you take only the first 60 minutes, we would be second. Because at the start of every game, obviously they are very, very young, so they go full gas. It's very spectacular. You get some goals very early, but in the end, they are not able to maintain the score. You got some experienced guys on the other side. They know the way football has been running. They have like 200 or 300 games in Ligue 1, so they know the way it's being done. They know the referees. They know everything. And so we've been we've seen so many games this year where we end up with a draw or a loss, despite the fact that we were in front for most of the game. So and that's, once again, here it's a clear example of the way this financial vision is really in conflict with what would be a sound sporting decision, and in my opinion, a sound business decision as well, because I'm not against any business in football. I'm okay, you need some money in football. You need to at least reach a balance or a small profit so that you will exist next year, that's for sure. So let's have a sound business, but with the money that we earn, and not with some very speculative money that comes from private equity, because it doesn't make any sense.
That makes it's very true, and I wanna stress this. Does that issue about after 1 hour sound familiar, guys, in the chat? I'm sure it does, because we've seen that
Yeah.
many times.
Seen that every game, pretty much.
It's the same exactly, and you have to ask why. It's obviously why. I want to ask when the ownership came into Strasbourg and they took charge. Was there a load of changes in the club structure? The personnel that work at the club, people that are there day in, day out, was there a lot of changes, or did they keep everything basically nearly the same?
It's once again this thing that they kept the whole envelope as it is. You still get pretty much the same people. Some left, some are still there. What you have right now is you have people actually who I don't really know what they are doing anymore. For example, I mentioned earlier that Winston and Stewart are making all the decision. We used to have, and he is still, to my knowledge, he is still an employee of the club. We had the sporting director, obviously, before the buyout. His name is Loic Desiré. He's a very crafted guy. He made some very sound moves for us with not much money. He found some pretty good players. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but he's still an employee. He's still on the payroll. So and that's, in a sense, I don't know if it's because they are not interested in us, so they keep these guys running despite the fact that they are useless right now, or if it's a clever move because then everybody says, well, what do you bother about? It's still the same.
Right.
When I talked with Marc Keller, he told me something that was very surprising for me. He said, hey, come on, but we kept the logo, the sausages are still there. Why are you complaining about? And I was like, come on. So yeah, they kept the envelope, they kept the employees. On the surface, it hasn't changed much. But when you know what's really going on at the club, it's clearly all the clear leg people, the yes men that you mentioned, that are running the show every day, and they are making all these decisions with some clear instruction from everybody. They are doing that in the interest of Chelsea, or at least what they think Chelsea's interest is. I'm pretty sure that you guys do have an opinion on that. But it's not our club anymore. It's Chelsea's big club. It's Chelsea's feeder team, and that's pretty much it. So it's still. I mean, it's like a Dead Star. It's on its inertia. It's still existing. You still see it in the sky, but inside it's dead.
Makes sense. It makes sense because with us, the fabric is completely different. They came in. They got rid of everybody. There was a massive sweep of personnel. Staff, everything was turned upside down. But it's obvious why, because Chelsea is the main aim here, and Strasbourg is the thing to feed it, and nothing more. That's the model. That's the model, and this goes back to the point as to why we've been saying this model won't change, because they've implemented an entire structure here, and it's all done with calculation and intention. So,
we need to protest together. I'll be real.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Well, obviously, you guys are welcome in Strasbourg, and maybe some guys on our side will come to you guys at some point. I think it's important to see that there's a grassroots movement on both sides of the channel, and that we both, for reasons that are very much connected, we might have a few differences, but that's life. We are against it, and especially that this is some kind of a European movement. I mean, we want to keep the tradition of what football is about, of what European football is about. I'm not anti-American at all. I think they have their model on their side of the Atlantic, and that's okay for me. But I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't even consider us bringing our model to them.
Correct.
So why are we accepting that from them?
Exactly.
Separate, different countries, different cultures, different way to see what sports is about, what a show is about. So they want to do their American stuff. Very fine with me. They do that in the States. We keep or European football as it is, with its universality, with the idea that you can climb the ladder, that there's promotion and relegation, that's the European Cup, that you go to the European Cup on sporting merit and not because you are being owned by some company that has a lot of money. And that's the way it is, and that's the way it should stay. And that I think in the end, I'm hoping that it will stay this way because. That's what we've been saying, and that's I think we must be pretty much the same age. That's the football that we have learned to like when we were kids, when we were teenagers. In the end, it's all about the passion that you had when you were a little kid or a young adult. The first time that your dad brought you to the stadium, you remember that. You remember how you met a lot of your mates at the stadium. What it means for you, because you think about it every day. It's part of your culture. It's part of your identity. It's part of your region for us, because for us it's a very important regional thing, and it's not about money. I mean, money is important, obviously, but it's not about money.
It's not even that we're greedy about. It's just about trophies as well. But it's about a unity, family, love. You know, the game of football, like it's culture. These lot are like, you ever seen The Matrix and it's all just numbers, you know, all the numbers?
Yeah.
You walk into the training ground and you walk into, and it's just all that everywhere. It's all data, it's all money, it's all figures. It's not human beings, you know, it's not love and, you know, understanding.
No soul. Yeah.
Yeah, no soul. Soul's gone. DNA gone. Do you know what their campaign is for us? We say we bleed blue. Their campaign's we burn blue. And they want to burn everything down.
Yeah.
And they are doing that. In terms of protest, right? In terms of protest, I'll be honest. You continue protesting 100%, and I know you will, and all the ultras will protest. But the way they look at it is, they're noise. They're little babies, noisy. That's the way they think. When Chelsea protest as well, that's when they pay attention. When we both protest together, that's the moment, I'm telling you. Because right now they're wetting themselves that Chelsea will protest.
Mm-hmm.
And they're preying on a divide. They want that divide. And the Chelsea supporters need to understand, if we do actually do it and unite, whoo, and you guys as well, bosh, their image, their public image, and all their investors, red flags.
Yeah, but I think that's very important. You want to target their image and you want to put really public their failings, because that's the only way that they can lose their investors' trust or confidence. And if the investors don't trust them, then it's going to end very quick, I assume. I really hope that it will work out for you guys. I hope that a lot of people will show up on Tuesday. I think it's kind of unusual in English football. I mean, this way. So good luck on you guys to try to do that. And I really hope that that people will show up and that it will really show to the world and the English football fans that there's still some kind of soul here, that you have a strong culture as well, obviously, that you have a football club which is something that is deeply rooted in yourself, and that is nothing to do with I don't know, an Excel file that Mr. Egbali might be looking on his private jet or whatever that is. And you need to fight for your football club. You need to fight for your rights as supporter, and for the fact that this is a cultural thing. This is not only a business thing. This is mainly a cultural thing. If you can do some sound business with it, then that's fine. But the culture goes first, and the soul goes first, and that should always be the case. And it's quite unfortunate that we have to fight for that, because it should be common sense.
And Alex, very quickly, it's happening already across all different clubs in the Premier League, where they're protesting, stop exploiting loyalty. And that's the banner. And for the first time, you're seeing like Man United teamed up with Everton, Chelsea teamed up with West Ham, London rival, and they stand behind the banner. I've stood behind the banner myself personally. I've stood behind the banner, and that stems from Vivid Seats is a big catalyst
Yeah,
to
it
what
was.
is happening here.
Yeah, well,
And
and I
there's
think it's a good slogan. Stop exploiting loyalty. I mean, yeah, you summed it up pretty well, you guys.
there's other fans. I mean, Manchester United have their protest on the 9th of March against Arsenal.
Okay.
Spurs, Tottenham, after all of this time, finally they're getting angry because everyone was looking at them like, were you guys asleep? Or but Tottenham fans, 2,000 people showed up, which was unbelievable for Tottenham.
Okay.
So yeah, it's this the whole concept of what is happening to clubs on an organic level is starting to hit many fan bases. So fingers crossed we get good momentum on the 25th. I want to ask though, what's next for Strasbourg? As a fan base and the way that you guys are handling your business on your end, what's next?
Two things. First of all, I must say we are also trying to focus on the day-to-day life of fans. As I mentioned in the introduction, we have a place that we run, and it's very important for us to keep close ties in between, because we know that this is going to be a long fight. So we stay united. We spend a lot of time together before the games, after the games. We have even people who show up saying, I'm not interested in the game anymore, but I'm coming because I'm seeing my mates there. And so for us, it's very important. So we are working on this grassroots movement. This is not very public. This is not very open. And the second thing is, I think that at some point, but we still have to discuss that, we will propose some kind of big debate where we will try to expose that with the very few influent people that are on our side, to try to make things more public and still try to make something pedagogic about it, because we want to convince people. As far as demonstration is concerned, I don't really know what's going on or what will be done, because it's mainly the Ultra will run the show on that point, and I haven't spoken to them about that, so I'm not gonna say anything because I don't know really, but it's pretty sure that we will continue. We will fight until the end. We will fight until they are out, and that might be, I hope, closer than what most people think. Because if their business is not working, then I think they will go out very quickly.
What message would you give right now? If you could quickly say something now, say it directly to Bali and all the directors.
Well, to Mr. Iqbali, I would like to tell him that we don't bite, that he can come and try to explain us his whole thing. Maybe we are stupid and we just didn't get it, but so yeah, we don't bite, and we would appreciate you coming and showing some consideration, because if you're running the show at our football club, maybe you could introduce yourself to the people that are affected on a day-to-day basis by your decision. Otherwise, well, I don't know, mate. It's complicated, but yeah, I think for us, we really see it as the ultimate lack of consideration. The fact that he won't come publicly, I think it's kind of cowardly. Because he's not, as you mentioned, he's very soft. He's doing things in behind, speaking only to investors or people that are worth, I don't know, like $10 or $20 million. And and it's also a lack of respect, because, well, the first thing, when you come to someone and you buy it, well, you introduce yourself. I mean, so yeah, please come. We don't bite. We would be happy to discuss with you. We have a very strong disagreement indeed, but still, that's no reason for not showing up and showing so much disdain for us. And well, I'm not very hopeful, but maybe that strikes a chord somewhere, let's say.
Yeah, I think we struck some chords on here. Oh yeah, 100%. Me personally, I want them out. That's my. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to negotiate. I just want you out.
Yeah, well, I was guessing that.
Yeah. I'm straight up. Go on, Eunice.
I was gonna say, I forgot this. I was gonna say because you mentioned that. Is there anything on the Strasbourg end, in relation to Clear Lake or Iqbali, actually being able to let go of your club and sell up, is that in any way being challenged, or is that common knowledge that that's a possibility? Because if say BlueCo out, like in the same way that we are, I mean that can happen.
Yeah, well, two different things. Right now, even if they would sell, they would have trouble finding someone stupid enough to buy it, because still this week we had just like a huge story because DAZN won't pay the Liga the money that is being
I saw.
so right now it makes no sense at all to buy a French football club, any football club, because we are broke, and that's obviously a big point. The point that we are making here in Strasbourg and that other fans are making in France is, come on, stop pretending to be someone else. Stop spending more money that we actually earn. Let's go back to the basics. We spend the money that we actually earn, and then we can build a solid club model, just like the Germans did. And here in Strasbourg, we are sitting on the German border, and we are obviously very paying very much attention to what's going on. If you go 60 kilometers from Strasbourg, there's a club in Freiburg in Germany. That's 60 kilometers from it. It's a very well-run club. You don't hear very much about them, but they have been in European competition. They don't need to sell a player every year to reach a balance. They have a brand new stadium, which is full all the time. They have very strong connection with local companies. They make their money at the end of the season. Very strong club, very traditional club, and they were like nowhere 20 or 25 years ago. But what they did is that they worked very well, and right now they have a very strong club here in Strasbourg. And we think that actually the whole mess which is going on right now in French football is the opportunity to do that. But to do that, you first have to stop pretending to be being someone else. We're not playing in the same area or the same league as you guys in Britain, because football has not the same cultural impact overall on the general public in France than in the UK. Okay, that's fine, but still, we have a big league. We have a lot of pretty talented young players. Let's build on that. Let's build a club model which is fair, stable, independent, and maybe we can go from that. So I'm hoping that at some point some sanity will come back, and that we will be able to do just what we were actually doing like 5 or 6 years ago. So this is not science fiction. So I don't know if I answer your question, but nobody will be crazy enough right now to buy a French football team the way it is run. That's for sure. I wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it either, because you pay attention to your money. But on the other hand, it's such a mess that I think we are very close to the end of this model, and that we will be able to build back. We will build back from the shambles. It will be hard. It will be painful. It will obviously be difficult for our French ego, where we like to be kind of arrogant. We have the garlic rooster as a national animal because it's the only animal that can sing with 2 feet in a shit. So that's fine. We know that. But let's build back from basics. So that's what we hope, and that's what we would like in the end.
And I think this ownership are playing on that.
Yeah.
That's what they're playing with. They know it. And that's why they just act like they don't give a shit. And they'll do what they want. Yeah. And they'll go, well, you should be grateful. That's their mentality. Right?
Yeah, I hear that a lot. So come on, why aren't you grateful to them because they spend a lot of money in your club? But they are doing that only because they want to make a profit. And I think it's the basics of every scam. You tell people what they want to hear. Exactly. And so you come into the club, you say, hey, come on, we're going to bring a lot of money. We're going to make transfer. We have a very new, brilliant policy with AI or whatever shit that is fashionable at the moment, data, whatever you call it. And then people buy into that because that's what they hear all the time. And that's what they want to hear. But in the end, they are not investing. They are not spending any money in the sense that they want the club to
grow,
get bigger, to grow. They are investing in the sense that they have been given some amount of money by their investors, and at some point in time, I don't know what that point in time is, but it must be like in at most in like 8 or 10 years, they have to give this money back with a return, with a huge return. And it's only speculation. This is not investment. It's
unless it's not working, and
Yeah.
Chelsea supporters and Strasbourg supporters turn to the point of no return, where they can't lie anymore through the PR and the media
yeah.
to buy them time. Oh, they'll be cutting their losses. They're not going to stay for 10 years if that's the case.
That's what I'm hoping, that they will cut their losses at some point.
Yeah. And I think they will have to, because I'm telling you now, at Chelsea, it can't go on like this. It cannot. It will not last. They're lucky they got this far. They're very lucky they got this far. Because I think when the Chelsea supporters all add enough, like fully, it's going to kick off big time. And then that's what they're scared of. But you're giving them another season. Before you know it, they're halfway, 5 years in, everything's set up. They can't change it because the whole structure's in place. They've employed how many people they've recruited to have roles specific to allow the model to work and operate as they wanted to on a financial level. They're not going to change that. There's no way they're going to change it. So, it's time. It's just time. Me, I'm BlueCo out, Clearlake out, Bowley out, Wiz out, everyone out. Get them out. They're a cancer to football. They're a cancer to my football club and our football club. They're a cancer to your football club. They're a cancer to football. And it's going to come now where all the Premier League clubs, I'm telling you, it's going to kick off. It's going to kick off in such a way it's going to be historical, because you don't see this. You don't see other supporters, rivals uniting and things like that. You don't get to see it. And they're trying to destroy our beautiful game, and we have to all collectively unite in our own ways to stop it.
Yeah, I'm hoping, and I'm rooting for you guys. I really hope that it will work out for you guys, and that you will get to target their image and do some damage to them. And what I really can say is I encourage every Chelsea supporter to join you, because it's important. The more united we are, the quicker it will come. I think it will come in the end at some point, but let's have it quick. Every day that is lost is lost for the fact that we will have to build something new after that.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to add as well before we end and you get through the chats. Strasbourg's interest here is our interest, and vice versa, because if they mess up with us, right, and if the situation is solved through Chelsea, Strasbourg are saved as well, because this is one big entity as a whole. The keys are with us here, more so than with Strasbourg. So action definitely needed, and hopefully that way both clubs are saved.
100%. I'm going to run through some of these, Alex, very quickly. Big up Chelsea Empire. He says, proper stream. Big up to you, boys. Salute to the one and only proper Chelsea Stevie G. Salute to you, Governor. Vargolis, he says, these people are sharks and dangerous to our game. Pistero says, this is not about being broke or being safe financially anymore. This is about saving the culture of our football. So Americans, F off, stop ruining European culture. Fans all across have to unite. Salute to my Chelsea young boys. He says, big up Unks, Eunice, and welcome Alex. And we salute you. It will be beneficial if Chelsea come to you and you guys come to us. We unite and protest together. 100%. PB becoming a member, ultra member. He says, has Frank Leboeuf spoken out on behalf of Strasbourg like he has with Chelsea? That's a good question. Really good.
It is, yeah.
We haven't heard from him. He's staying silent about that. I haven't heard from him. He's kept a strong connection with the club, and he's obviously a big name at both clubs. But I don't really know his opinion on that. No idea.
Okay. And salute to Pistero says, at this point, this is beyond laughing and bantering on Arsenal, Man United, Spurs, etc. Our clubs are being Americanized and ruined. The cancer is spreading. And unless we all unite and stand up, game over. And that's where we are. So, Alex, thank you very much for spending your time on the Minerals FC and with Eunice and myself and all the ultras here. And salute to all the Ultra Boy 90s. And salute to all your federation and all the Strasbourg supporters. This is going to be a long dogfight, but I'm convinced and determined, and I believe that Chelsea we will get these lot out. Eventually, it will come to that point. So all the support you need, and I want you to know, and for all of you, you've got a platform here. Anytime you want to voice anything anytime you want to push out a message, you just hit me up, and you're welcome on here anytime. All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I've learned a lot of things as well, and I hope it's been also good to you to hear about us in Strasbourg, and hopefully, yeah, we will speak in the near future. Have a good night.
Definitely. No, again, thank you very much for that, and yeah, merci beaucoup, and good luck as well going forward in the season. Enjoy, and hopefully we get good things coming out of both clubs.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. Thank you.
Merci.
Bye-bye.
Let's have it right. Safe, guys. Big up to Ultras. Put all your comments down below. Like, subscribe, all that. And we will see you tomorrow. And just salute BlueCo out. Let's go. Salute Don Roman.